Hello, future doctors. We're here to show you how to dissect a sheep brain. Today we have Dr. Rodriguez, Dr. Garcia, Dr. Pineda, and lastly Dr. G.
During this dissection or any dissection, make sure to follow steps safely and to have fun at the same time. Make sure to have all the supplies needed for completing this dissection, as well as having your lab coats and goggles on. Make sure to keep goggles on at all times until done with dissection. Let's get started with the dissection. Once you get your brain, use your scissors to cut the bag in half. After you cut the bag, put the brain on the dissecting tray and take the bag and the brain to the sink. Rinse the bag with water, then dispose of it, and then rinse the brain with water.
This is the frontal lobe and the brainstem. The frontal lobe is in charge of emotional expression, problem solving, memory, language, judgment, and much more. It is located in the front of the brain. The brainstem is located in the very back of the brain and is in charge of many different important things, like maintaining homeostasis.
The cerebrum is in the front part of the brain, also known as the anterior part of the brain. The sulci are the grooves between the gyri of the brain. The gyri are the folds of the cerebral cortex, and the medial longitudinal fissure is the line that splits the left and the right hemisphere. The parietal lobe is located on the superior right hemisphere of the brain, and it helps with the bodily sensations such as touch, temperature, pain, and many more. The temporal lobe is located on the inferior part of the brain, and it helps with the language and understanding, long-term memory, and hearing. And finally, the occipital lobe is located on the posterior part of the brain, and it helps with the vision. The cerebellum is located on the inferior part of the brain below the occipital and temporal lobe, and it helps with the muscle coordination, the movement, and the balance.
The olfactory bulb is posterior to the occipital lobe, and it helps pass information into other parts of the body, because it contains nerve tissue in it, such as glomeruli, which is formed from the end of the oxons.
The optic chiasma is the crossing point of the optic nerves. It is located on the dorsal side of the brain. The left hemisphere of the brain is the one that is responsible for the right side of the body. It is also responsible for the logical things like science and math. And the right hemisphere is in charge of the left side of the body, and this side is in charge of the creative part. The lateral ventricle is one of the 4 cavities in the brain filled with cerebrospinal fluid. It is located in the superior side of the brain.
The thalamus is located above the brainstem and is connected to the cortex in the midbrain, and is in charge of sending sensory signals to the cortex. The hypothalamus is anterior to the temporal lobe, and it is connected to the pituitary gland, and it is in charge of the nervous and endocrine system.
The pineal body is also known as the pineal gland. It is in charge of producing melatonin, serotonin, derived hormones which help regulate your sleep. The pons is located in the brainstem and sends signals to the cerebellum, which also helps with sleep, respiration, swallowing, bladder control, hearing, equilibrium, taste, eye movement, facial expressions, facial sensation, and posture. The medulla is right below the pons, and it helps with the same things, but it also helps with the reflexes such as sneezing, coughing, vomiting, and many more. Arbor vitae is located in the cerebellum, and it brings motor and sensory information to the cerebellum. The midbrain helps with the vision, hearing, motor control, sleep, weight, alertness, and temperature regulation.
Gray matter contains neutral cell bodies that help with the muscle control and much more, and the white matter is composed of axons. These connect some of the gray area points.
The hippocampus is really important to be able to maintain long-term memory. Thank you for taking your time to watch this video. Hopefully you learned many things and that will be helpful for your dissection.